Choosing a career, it can feel like you're trying to solve a giant puzzle, but you've got a million pieces and absolutely no picture on the box to guide you. It's overwhelming, it's confusing, and let's be real, it's one of the biggest decisions you'll probably ever make. So if you're feeling a little lost in that maze, you've definitely come to the right place. Let's start putting some of those pieces together. This image probably looks pretty familiar, doesn't it? A dozen different paths, all just branching out into the great unknown. This is what we call the career crossroads, and it's a place where so many students find themselves. It's that exact feeling of exploring all these paths, not because you're some seasoned pro, but because you're just starting out and trying to figure out where to even begin. And this, right here, this is where it gets really intense. This chart quantifies that pressure we're all feeling. We're looking at the competitive exam scene in India, a system where literally millions of students are all competing for a pretty limited number of spots. And you can see the breakdown right there. A massive chunk, we're talking over 60%, are exams just to get a job. The rest are for getting into colleges. The sheer volume of it all just makes this whole landscape incredibly complex and, honestly, pretty overwhelming. And all of that pressure, well, it leads to some really common and very real problems. A lot of students just don't see the line connecting the course they're taking to an actual job. You get the degree, but then what's next? How do you even use it in the real world? And to make things even worse, the internet is just flooded with misleading info, which, of course, just adds to all the confusion. If any of this is ringing a bell, trust me, you are so not alone. Okay, so let's get right to the heart of it. A huge part of this confusion comes from one fundamental misunderstanding: the difference between a course and a career. This slide right here, this is what our source material calls the biggest confusion. So often you hear someone say, "Oh, my career is in science," or "I'm in commerce." But are those really careers? Nope. They're academic courses. They're the educational programs you follow. A career, on the other hand, is the actual thing you do to earn a living. Being an advocate, a dancer, a teacher. They are two totally different things. So here's the big takeaway, the thing you really need to get. Your academic course is just a path. It's not the final destination. Thinking of it that way, as just one of many possible routes you can take, completely changes your perspective. It's not the end goal, it's a stepping stone towards that goal. And that little shift in mindset, well, it's everything. All right, now that we've kind of unpacked the problem, let's switch gears and talk about the solution. And it's not about finding some magic answer. It's about building something inside of you, your own capacity to make great decisions. And this is the core idea right here. Capacity building isn't about someone else telling you what to do. It's about you being equipped with the right tools, the right way of thinking, and the confidence to navigate your own journey. It's literally about empowering you to think for yourself and act decisively, no matter what crossroads you end up at. And man, this quote, it just hits different, doesn't it? If you are young, it's your right to know the truth. You deserve to know the real deal about your options, so you don't waste years going down the wrong path only to realize it wasn't for you. Every single decision you make today really does affect your tomorrow. Being conscious of where you're headed is absolutely everything. Okay, so how do you actually do this? How do you build that capacity? Let's get practical. Let's look at some actual tools you can start using right now to build your own personal decision-making toolkit. So first things first, we got to understand how we make decisions in the first place. We all kind of operate on two levels. You've got your rational decisions, the ones based on logic, on facts, like choosing a car because it has great gas mileage. And then you have emotional decisions, the ones driven by your feelings, like buying a gift for someone you really care about. The big question is, which one do you lean on for the big life choices? So the secret sauce here, it's not about picking one or the other. Nope. The absolute best career decisions find that perfect sweet spot right in the middle. You need that logic to look at the opportunities and the realities of a situation, for sure. But you also need that passion to feel connected and motivated by what you do. You gotta have that balance, right? Head and heart working together. Okay, so how do you actually do that? How do you bring the logic and the passion together in a practical way? Well, one really powerful tool is creating a structured career portfolio. It's a pretty simple but super insightful process. First, you really dig deep and reflect on your skills and interests through a detailed questionnaire. Then, an expert takes all that info and analyzes your unique profile. And the result? You get a personalized roadmap, a portfolio that outlines potential career paths that genuinely fit who you are. All right, so we've covered the problem, we've talked about that big mindset shift, and we've got some tools in our toolkit. Now, let's tie it all together and talk about what it really means to forge your own path in the world today. One of the most important things to remember is this: there's no single right way to build a career. Some people absolutely thrive on a conventional path, like a lawyer who moves up the ranks from associate to partner. It's structured, it's predictable, but then other people find their calling on a totally unconventional path, like a YouTuber who starts with one little channel and builds it into a global brand. And here's the thing, both of those are totally valid. The whole point is finding the one that feels right for you. Okay, as we start to wrap this up, let's really lock in the most important takeaways. First off, remember this whole career thing. It's a journey, not a one-time decision. The skills you build to make those decisions are what will shape the future you create for yourself. And most importantly, this is your path. You have to take ownership of it. And please, resist the pressure to just follow your friends or do what everyone else is doing. And that brings us to one last, really powerful question I want to leave you with. Take a second and really ask yourself this. Are the choices you're making right now driven by your own genuine purpose? Or are you just following the herd? The answer to that question just might be the first step on your truly authentic career path.